Well, hello, good evening, and welcome to Rangers Radio. Join myself, Ox, here on the show tonight. Is all Ben and Bridgeman, my two muckers. How we doing, boys?
I'm doing fine, mate. How are you two doing?
Aye.
Oh, I'm doing absolutely fabulous. Can I say a big good evening to you two guys? Huge good evening to the guys in the lobby. And to all the Rangers fans listening in all over the world. Keep it going for the Rangers, and good evening to Rangers Radio.
How we doing? How we doing, Albert?
I'm good, mate. I'm good, aye. It's very, very pleasant at the moment, I must admit, on all fronts.
On all fronts? That's unusual for you.
It's I enjoyed myself over the weekend there.
All right. What was the highlight of your weekend then? Just out of interest.
Oh, definitely the game. Definitely. I've got to be honest here and say I was a bit apprehensive going into it because of, not because of him, just because of us. But everything ended well. It's very nice, very very nice.
Give us your thoughts then, mate. Since we've not heard from you.
It was fantastic. It's a fantastic result, first and foremost, and it was good to see the guys coming back and hitting a bit of form again and showing everybody how good a team we were. That's definitely the plus points, the big plus points for me. The 4 goals we scored were fantastic. In fact, each one of the goals could be in contention for goal of the season. It's unbelievable. But there were 4 fantastic goals. My favourite one was Alfie's, just because he nutmegged that trumpet Brown and gave it to him big time and slammed it up into the roof of the net. Super goal. But equally the other 3 were equally as good, I suppose. But that was my favourite. I thought overall we played well. Kent, outstanding. Big Joe Aribo, fantastic. Great that he moved out of the park. But when he went to left back, the one he cut out over the other side of the park when he was at left back it was actually brilliant. It was brilliant, just brilliant. But the boy Simpson, shaky, but done well. McGregor, world class save is normal. Tick the box. You just do that. You tick the box for world class save before he goes on the park now.
I was disappointed he never caught that.
So was I. I thought he was flicking on at the bar and then going to just rip the pea right out of them and catch it. You know what I mean?
Oh, brilliant.
Tav back to his normal. He had a great game, Tav. He really did. So did Barisic. He had a good game as well. In fact, they're all good. You can't argue it. But the one of the highlights of the whole game for me was the difference between Davis and Goldson when Davis get back to make that block. I mean, as I said before, that's what you've seen there, the difference between a supporter of Rangers playing for Rangers and a guy just playing for Rangers. There's a yard and a half of difference because Davis sprinted him, got to the ball and cleared it. And when Goldson was there, and it was a standing start with him and Goldson. So, yeah, Goldson, I'm not slagging Goldson. He played well, Goldson, but that's the difference between a good player, Ranger supporter, and a guy just playing for Rangers.
Could it also be the difference in the speed of their brains?
Could be that as well, mate. That's a big plus. That it really is.
And once again, no offence to Goldson, just that Davis just sees the situation just half a yard quicker. Yeah.
And for his age to beat him in a sprint, I mean, that's exceptional. I know Golson's not a sprinter; he's a centre half, but even still, you gave him a yard there starting to beat him, which was excellent. Don't get me wrong; it's not a competition. We're all playing in one team. We're all covering each other. So it was brilliant. But it was a wee highlight to me. I really enjoyed that. But the whole game, overall, the whole game. Fantastic. That's them doing themselves justice when they play like that. And when they play at a higher tempo, they're a lot better. That walking football doesn't suit us. It just does not suit us. Don't get me wrong, some teams make it stuffy and hard for you to play that tempo. But when we can, we should be playing at that tempo. And we're a different animal. You can see that. We just blew them away. Totally blew them away.
Some people have said, Albert, we've won games, we've never got out a second or third gear, you know. Maybe we've never played maybe 90 minutes, maybe not played 60 minutes as a team, you know, all season. But when we've played, we've been excellent.
Oh, I mean, I mean, any team in the world, it's hard to play 90 minutes like that. No, I mean, any team in the world would struggle to do that. Even the best teams that's ever been would struggle to do that. It doesn't used to happen. The games are sort of, it's a living thing, innit? It moves, it changes, things happen in the game, weather changes, pace changes, people get injured, you take wee knocks here, there and everywhere, a bit of luck goes against you. So you never know. To play 90 minutes like that, it's near impossible. But when we play, when we're actually on it, like we were on Sunday there, for spells of that game, when we're on it, nobody's touching us. Nobody's touching us. We're definitely quarter-final level in European football playing like that. We definitely are at that level. Trouble is, we need to do it. And the really, really important games. We need to do it all games if we can manage it, but the really important games, like the last 16 of that UEFA, for example, and the 2 cup games at Scottish Cup and League Cup in Scotland. So there is times that we come off the pace. There's no doubt about that in certain games. But when we're up that pace, nobody can live with us. Nobody can live with us in Scotland. Absolutely nobody.
I think, but I'll go to Bridge. You've enjoyed this when we've played at that fast tempo. We've been a joy to watch at times, eh?
Oh, just heavenly, just as Albert says. You know, there's very few teams I've ever been able to play with and even stay with us. Our speed of passing is just incredible. So it just shows you the trust and confidence they've all got in each other to be able to do these things. And when one goes off a wee bit, maybe you get 2 or 3 thinking, I need to stay back a wee bit just in case. And maybe that's good in that sense. But no, we're an outstanding team. And if there's anybody in Scotland that plays football, doesn't think Rangers are an outstanding team, they want to go home. That's it. Just go home. Fantastic.
Yeah, okay, all right. Right, I suggest what we do is we'll get these phone lines opened, yeah, and we'll take calls. And we'll take it for there.
Absolutely.
Are you all right with that, you two? In case any of your ex-girlfriends phone up, you two must sit worrying every night about that, huh?
Oh, dear.
All my ex-girlfriends are nursing homes. You'll not get them.
I suppose if it was all of your ex-girlfriends used to, we'd get a Ouija board out, wouldn't we?
Definitely.
Right, okay, yeah. So, get yourself a mute. So, let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show. It's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Fantastic. I agree with your sentiments exactly, and I think Bridge is similar. Play at pace. But you've made a statement. I'm going to say Christmas time. This team could be special, entertainers in it. I think you mentioned Aribo, Kent, Morelos. You know, the if you like the match winners in my team, the potential to go to another level. We're not there yet, but there's signs that there's even more to come for some of these players.
Well, definitely, mate. You must admit, in my lifetime, by the way, I've never seen many players coming to Ibrox and getting improved. It's sort of you need to be the finished article when you come to Ibrox, and then we make you worse for some odd reason. I don't know why, but there's very few we actually get improved. This team, as you can see the improvement in Kent, Naribo, and Kamara, all these boys, Patterson, even Tav. You can see the improvement. Goldson, you can see the improvement. So that's unusual for me. And I don't know if other people agree with that, but that's unusual for me. I don't think I've seen that many players improving at the one time. You might have seen 1 or 2 over a period of time. None come to my mind, put it that way. You might say Hutton, but to me, he came into the team and he was sort of playing like that as soon as he came into the team. He didn't get any better. He was at that level.
I don't know, mate. Hutton, for me, you'd have got Hutton for £1 million in the summer, and he had a 6-month period when he was absolutely mustard. Yeah, you know, but that's...
Oh, he was unplayable at one point. He was unplayable. Aye.
You know, but
I agree with that. He was.
These boys have just improving with both potential, and we're all wary, and they've all had faults in their games, and then we're slowly improving. What's your thoughts, Bridge? Potential special talents, entertainers. You like an entertainer?
Yes, I think
James Baxter. You liked him, didn't you?
Well, he was just different class. And I think Albert's a big fan of his. There's a few others who are really good for Rangers, but Baxter was very special. And that young lad, Ryan Kent, is growing into that type of role where he's going to be a very special player. I really believe that sincerely. And I'm very happy he's with Rangers because he's got everything, that boy. When you get him in the right place to play, the right part of the park, if he does that and goes and does it, go pick the ball up and run at him, he just bamboozles everybody. Just really does bamboozle him. Scott Brown's still walking about the penalty area waiting. How did that guy nutmeg me?
We've been joined by Alistair. How we doing, Alistair?
How you doing, guys? All right?
All right, good to hear from you again, mate. How you keeping?
Not too bad. Obviously, still riding the crest of the wave that Sunday brought us, but nothing quite like an old firm hammering to carry you through a week. It's and it's even better considering it's the last one of the season, so it's a wee while before they can even attempt to redress the balance. So I will enjoy this one for a wee while.
We just had Albert's thoughts on it. What was your thoughts on it again, mate? First we heard from you since Sunday. These are your own personal thoughts.
I thought they were excellent. To be honest, I thought in terms of response to the previous weekend when they'd obviously lost the cup tie, I thought just about everything that we did was bang on the money. I heard just as I come on there talking about Ryan Kent. I thought he was unplayable on Sunday. And essentially tore them apart, to coin a phrase for Ryan Kent. Kemar Roofe as well, having had his injury problems this season, was exceptional, and nice wee bit of cheekiness from our Alfredo as well. Signed, sealed, delivered the departure of Mr. Brown with his wee nutmeg and terrific finish. But again, I felt that was kind of damned with faint praise a wee bit because everybody's talking about the goalkeeper and everybody's talking about the centre half duck now to it. But no, I thought start to finish we were superb and really nice to have things rounded off when Defoe scores in stoppage time. And it's nice to hear today that there's negotiations started on a potential contract extension for him. I think guys like that in and around the dressing room have been key this year.
Mm-hmm. That actually surprised me, Albert Defoe. I mentioned I spoke to you today on the phone briefly. Well, that's not true. It wasn't briefly, but I spoke to you today on the phone. I think we were both surprised about the news about Defoe breaking, weren't we?
Aye, it's a weird one, that one. It's you can't let sentimentality rule this, know what I mean? And that's what we're saying. You can get wrapped up in the moment and start dishing contracts out because of a moment. And don't get me wrong, Defoe's a great player. I like Defoe. What's his role if he came in a year and he accepts another year? What's his role? How are we going to maximise him for that year? Because you can't just have him sitting in the stand. And I know he's a big influence in the dressing room and that, but it's I would want to clarify what he's actually going to be doing.
Well, you don't know whether, for example, it's going to be some sort of coaching role as well, whether there's going to be some sort of involvement with the youth team or the reserve team or whatever, which would, I guess, kind of justify the decision. But I just think his influence, you mentioned there, his influence in the dressing room is huge for me. I mean, he's not been hugely involved this year, but anytime he has been involved, for me, he makes a difference. He just seems to have that kind of presence about him, if you like. And I get where you're coming from in terms of sentimentality. Obviously, him and Gerrard haven't played together. You can see that it's a kind of potential for, is this an old pals act? Is this just give him another year almost as a kind of token gesture? But I think Stephen's judgment so far has been pretty good in terms of
to be fair, Alistair, to Defoe, I agree with what you're saying, and I think you'll agree with this. But to be fair to Defoe, I don't think he's that type of guy who wants to be at a club that he doesn't feel he's contributing. There's no there to steal a wage or anything like that. I think he's the type of guy, he's very honest and upfront, and he wants to contribute. He wants to play or he wants to coach or whatever it is he's wanting to do, but he wants to contribute, and that's what I like about him. He comes across like that, and I think that is where he is. He's got a lot of honesty about him.
And I'll be honest, see when we signed him, having kind of obviously followed his career a bit in terms of
Spurs and Pompey and Bournemouth. I wasn't really sure. In terms of the guy that we see now, this guy that's the kind of humble guy, the big influence in the dressing room, that's not the impression I had of him, if I'm being honest. But you can clearly see the way he speaks, the way he conducts himself, the way he carries himself, as the type of player, the type of senior pro, if you like, that we're looking to have in the dressing room. If you're talking about guys like Morelos, for example, I think Morelos has calmed down a lot, and I think Stevens had a role in that. But I don't think you can underestimate the fact that Jermaine Defoe's probably had a bit of an influence on him as well. You see it when Morelos celebrates goals at times. If Defoe's not in the 11, he's on the bench, he tends to make a beeline for Defoe. So I think having him in and around the place is good, but he needs to have a role. I mean, obviously he was left out the European squad this year.
I was hoping. Sorry.
I'll go ahead.
I was going to say I was hoping when we talked about whether we give him a chance. I know we had a big discussion about this quite a while ago, and I thought then, obviously, we're not just going to keep somebody for the sake of it. I hope so. He's got to be worth it, and yep. I don't know. I would imagine that the manager's going to tell him the type of monetary, shall we say, reward he's going to get with Rangers, and it'll not be anything like the one he was on before. Nothing to do with Rangers, of course, but that money's gone. I would love to see him stay for a year and start to get involved in the coaching side of things.
If the role's right, Bridge.
Of course, absolutely.
If the role's right, I don't mind him staying for 5 years.
That's right. I don't want any sentimentality. No sentimentality. Yep. Just do the 100%. Job right. I think the guy's been great for us. I think we've been really, really good for him. And it's to me, he's a type of shall we say character that can do nothing but good for Rangers if we get him doing the right thing.
It's amazing that they're now drawing parallels with Jermaine Defoe's career and Harry Kane's career, where Jermaine Defoe's had to wait till he's 38, 39 before he actually gets somewhere and wins something significant. He won the FA Cup with Portsmouth. This is obviously his first league medal, so he's had to wait this length of time, and they're now sort of almost urging Harry Kane not to sort of follow suit and wait to that late in his career to come and get himself in a position where he's playing for a successful club, where he's playing for honours on a regular basis. And
you better watch what you're saying there, Alistair. Some of your listeners will think we'll be sending Harry Kane in this summer.
If we've got a spare
you wonder if Harry Kane asked Defoe for advice, what advice he would actually give him.
I think
you think he would advise him to leave?
I think he would advise him to leave. I mean, if you look at the clubs, I saw a bit today when Manchester United are talking about £90 million for him, or £90 million for him and the boy Sancho at Dortmund, which for me would elevate Manchester United from a kind of second place, third place challenger to Manchester City to really be at the kind of forefront down there. But I think his advice would be don't leave it too late. There's you mentioned earlier about sentimentality. Obviously, Harry Kane's come right through the ranks at Spurs. He's got an affinity with the club. He's been there since he was a youngster. But there comes a point where he's got to think, what am I in the game for? Am I in the game just to play and score goals, or am I in the game actually to when I reflect back on what I've achieved in the game? Fantastic goal scorer, but what did you actually win? Well, I didn't win any major honours. For me, I think he has to move. I think he has to leave Spurs because they seem to get there. And
what about playing devil's advocate in that, Alistair? If him and his family are happy, contented, and life's great for them.
Well, that's that, and that's where it comes down to personal choice. Is he quite happy being the main man, which to all intents and purposes he is at Spurs, almost irreplaceable, if you could say that, and he may well be in that position, but also you may well have his agent nibbling at him, you may well have other people nibbling at him saying,
did he not sign something crazy like an 8-year contract or something?
I think he did. I think there must have been some sort of retainer in there, because kind of similar to some other, I've talked about, I can't understand why some teams in this country haven't taken a punt on David Robertson as a manager. I can't understand why Harry Kane, nobody's come in, given the amount of money that's swirling around in England, I can't understand why nobody's come in and given Spurs an offer that they can't refuse. So there must be something in there, whether it be a minimum fee release clause or whatever. There must be something that allows Spurs to rebuff any interest. Or alternatively, as you said, maybe Harry Kane is telling them, going, you know what, I'm quite happy here. I'm quite happy playing every week, guaranteed pretty much to play every week.
If Defoe signs an extension for us, I was hoping he was actually going to talk Kane coming to us. That's his job.
Bridgeman, you know what it's like when Sky TV come in for you in Top Sport. You were loyal to us.
Absolutely, pal. Absolutely.
Well, funnily enough, a lot of people have drawn parallels between Stevens' tenure and Graham Souness's tenure. And if you think back to when Graham was bringing players in, at that stage, Graham was bringing in Richard Gough, captain of Spurs. He was bringing in, and across the city, they were bringing in Frank McAvenny, who was top scorer in the First Division. So that's akin to us, pretty much. Spurs captain Harry Kane, top scorer, or top end of the scorers in the Premiership, Harry Kane. And that just shows how much the game has changed in this country. That back then, we were able to dangle that carrot of, oh, you know what, the English clubs are banned for Europe, so we can bring players of that calibre in. But we've been blown out the water now. As much as we're kind of joshing and saying, like, I could Jermaine Defoe get him up here, unfortunately for us, guys like Harry Kane or guys of that kind of level, the only opportunity we're really going to get them is towards the tail end of their career, when they're in the twilight of their career, like Jermaine Defoe has been.
Both ends of their career, mate. Maybe if you're lucky, you get an Arteta, or you might get a Caniggia, if that makes sense, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. And we get them in loan at the early stage of their career. Given Stevens' contacts, we get somebody like, dare I say it, we were talking about Ryan Kent earlier. Ryan Kent, can he edge his way into the Liverpool team, but he comes up here, and a lot of folk, I think, balked at the money that we paid, as much as he'd impressed when he was on loan to us. A lot of folk balked at the money paid, but I think we'll recoup that money and then some when we eventually sell him.
Put it this way, I think we could have had a chip round with the Rangers supporting that they got their money back on Sunday, all better, wouldn't they?
Yeah, 100%.
Definitely.
just for that wee flick. To be honest.
Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
I think you could actually ask Celtic to pay his note to play him. I think we could make a fortune.
Well, as I said, it's very, very difficult to find a disappointing aspect of Sunday. That for me was the only disappointment. After that lovely wee bit of skill and the perfect wee stand-up cross, it was in the score, because that would probably have been down as goal of this season and goal of a number of different seasons had that been the case. But you can't get away from the fact that we were very, very good, and it was about making a statement. I think on Sunday, after the disappointment of the previous weekend, it was about us saying, you know what, we are the best team in the country by a considerable distance. The 23 points or whatever, just a number. We're going to show actually on the park that we're streets ahead of this lot. And
when for you three, you know, I'll go to Bridgeman first, then Albert and Alistair. That's this season, 5 games, 4 wins and a draw. We beat them the last game, so that's 5 wins and a draw at the last 6 games. The game before that, we were absolutely robbed with an offside goal. We missed a penalty, played them off the park, and could have been 5-1, never mind 4-1. So when did we start getting in their heads? Was it that cup final when they knew they'd stole the cup? We were all gutted, of course we were. Or was it the next game at Parkhead when we went and won 2-1, when again their goal was scored with a guy punched at his horn? But they seem to forget all these things. Of course, that doesn't matter, because only when they get beat, the refs are against them. And are we in their head, Bridgeman?
Oh, yeah, absolutely right. We're in their head, and I think the League Cup final where they punched the ball into the net. No, sorry, where they got an offside goal. I think that goes a long, long way to what's happened to them. And when we played them, and what do you call him? Edward managed to punch the ball into the net, or hit it in his hand, in the net his hand, and the ref did nothing, and everybody just stood there wondering what was going on. Yeah, that's we just beat them that day, and I tell you, they never look back. And it's from that point, from those 2 points there, I believe sincerely. In fact, maybe even go back further and say when they handed them the league, we were still to play them twice, and we're 13 points behind right enough, but we had still to play them twice, and I reckon we were in with a good shout of maybe catching them well, But my goodness gracious, that team, they knew then, writings on the wall, seriously.
All right, okay. Alba, then Alistair.
I think it was Gerrard's first game when they beat us 1-0. Remember he shouting? That was a foul, and the fourth official was shouting.
Ryan Jack, middle of the park, Stonewall.
That was a foul, and even doing the score. That game, I think for that game, I think they knew, and after that game, I think that's when Gerrard really convinced them. You've got the measure of this mob. Don't worry about them. You'll go to measure them. And from then on in, we just went from strength to strength. We'd one blip, the 2-0 game at Ibrox when we got the tactics right.
Gerrard got it right that day. Gerrard got it right that day.
Apart from that, we're in the reach for that very first game. That very first game with Gerrard.
Mm-hmm. I see your point. What, they beat us 4 times since Gerrard's been there. Is it 4? Once.
Well, the League Cup, that game, that 3 times. It was the 4th time.
4 times, aye.
What was the 4th one? There was a 2-0 one, the 1-0, as I said. Yep. The League Cup, what was the other one?
There was a 1-0 game.
They beat 2-1 when Tavernier gave the ball away when Alfie gets sent off.
Aye, that's right.
Ryan Kent scored.
Aye, we actually played them off the park that day with 10 men. Yep. Yeah. But I don't think, according to the rules, some of the rules I've read online and some of the stuff I heard on certain sites, it's against the rules to get a player sent off in the first half. You've got to wait to the second half. That's what they're saying. Just some of the stuff I read. Alistair?
I think it's been progressive, if I'm honest. The actual appointment, and it's amazing to think it's been 3 years that Stephen's been in charge now. I think the appointment of Steven Gerrard probably cast a bit of doubt, or probably cast a bit of concern or fear in their heads. And pretty much since then, we've talked about the 4 defeats, and during those 4 defeats, probably 2 out of 4, you'd probably say we didn't necessarily deserve to get in for the game. The clincher for me was the first game at Ibrox this year, where they, in quotes, outplayed us, to sort of use the parlance that's been used by some of their sort of management team and whatever. It struck me as a bit of a kind of Walter Smith style team, where we took that pounding. A goalkeeper's made 2-3 world-class saves, and still come out with 3 points at the end of it. And if you remember back at that time, this was the whole if they beat us that day, they've got 3 games in hand and whatever, and everything's going to turn on that. I think that was the huge one. That was the massive one that pretty much said, yeah, doesn't matter how well you play, doesn't matter how much you think you're dictating paces of games and whatever, we've got your number. And it was reinforced and beautifully illustrated on Sunday.
And just out of curiosity, can you tell me where they went to after that game?
After of course, I think they went to some place in the United Arab Emirates. And,
yes, I think they did. Funny that. Sorry, we get players getting banned for going to watch the boxing, and they breach COVID all over the world. And nothing. Big
fan of irony at times. It's ironic that if you think back to the 2 previous seasons under Stephen, where we went to Dubai during the winter break, and we come back on the back of that winter break in Dubai and didn't kick on, didn't play particularly well. We had a 1-0 game at Ibrox before. In Stephen's first season, with the 2-1 win at Parkhead in his second season, we come back to Dubai and don't kick on, and then all of a sudden they go to Dubai, and it's very, very similar, because they didn't just not kick on after Dubai. They decided to breach every rule under the sun, and come back to a manager that was very irate and sort of lost the plot with the media, and probably lost his dressing room and lost everybody else at that time. So in terms of being in their heads, then again, going back to the 1-0 game, I think they probably sat with their beers and their lack of social distancing or whatever at the side of the beach and or at the side of the pool, and they probably talked at length about the fact that Rangers are here and Rangers are back, and we are really struggling to compete. We're really struggling to match them.
Yeah. We mentioned Gerrard back. Bridge was involved last night, lads. I want you two takes on it. Gerrard, 3rd anniversary yesterday. Better never stops. We signed a player on his anniversary. The club announced a deal which will come to, I believe it's our best commercial deal in our history, but that's what we're saying, so we'll come to that in a minute. But Gerrard, 3 years, sum it up, Paul Bear, then Alistair.
It's been in general, start with I'll do it in general first. In general, it's been a fantastic time for these 3 years. It really is. There's been ups and there's been downs, of course there is, as he said himself. But in general, it's been fantastic, and it's been magic to watch how systematically he's built this team. Him and his coach and Ross Wilson have systematically built this team. There's errors in there, there's mistakes in there, of course there is. There's also huge successes, and it's great. It's absolutely fantastic how they've developed the team, brought the team together, picked their style of play, and stuck with it. And it's great. It's absolutely fantastic. That's what I can say about it. It's really fantastic.
Alistair?
2 words for me, it's continuous improvement.
It's better never stops.
Yeah. Since he come in the door with his now immortal phrase of "let's go," we have gone, and absolutely bang on. There's been mistakes in there, but what we can't get away from here is within 3 years, a guy whose managerial or coaching experience was at under-18 level at Liverpool has basically taken us from a position where we were so far behind, and if you remember everybody saying that Celtic were a million miles in front of it, it's going to take 10, 20, 30 million for Rangers to even get back and compete. Stephen's been given a decent transfer kitty, but if you look at the squad that he's got now versus the squad he started with, there's a number of players in there who have improved significantly over that period of time. You talk about James Tavernier, who was roundly criticised and has been roundly criticised on a number of occasions, has improved as a player under Steven Gerrard. There's been Connor Goldson as well. Connor Goldson comes in, we're now talking potential player of the year, yet there was probably a number of people within our support that were very highly critical of Connor Goldson at times. But Steven Gerrard...
The one on here tonight.
Stephen's improved every single player, and just to echo the sentiments that I mentioned earlier, he hasn't wavered from his style of play. He hasn't went, do you know what, this isn't working, I'm going to have to change this and that, I'm going to have to tinker with this and that. And he's good enough to recognise, I mean, you look at St Mirren this season, it's very, very difficult to pick fault this season, but obviously in the cup games we haven't done particularly well, or haven't achieved what we potentially should have achieved. But he's big enough to come out and say, do you know what, I've recognised that I made too many changes or I rotated the squad too much. But he's core of the team, and I go back to Graham Souness, I go back to Walter Smith, I go back to the teams that when we were dominant, you had that spine of the team that you knew if they were fit and it was a big game they were going to play, and we've got that now. We've got that strong spine to the team, your McGregors, your Goldsons, your Davis, Morellas, Kamar Roof to an extent as well. We've got that solid spine to build round about, and he's brought in guys that are unheralded. Joe Aribo being a prime example, and he's obviously recognised something, or him or his scouting staff have recognised something in these players, and he's made the vast majority of players that he signed better. So as I say, continuous improvement are the 2 words for me.
Souness's record in the Scottish, wasn't he? Something he didn't have a great record in the Scottish Cup, you know.
No, we went 11 years without winning it between 81 and 92. Souness didn't he? I mean, obviously Hamilton his first season, Dunfermline in his second season, and then I think in 89 we obviously get to the final and lose after we can talk about the contentious goal that Joe Miller scores that day all day long, and then I think in 89-90 we lost out to Celtic and lost to Celtic ironically, I was having a look at it the other day there in 1991, where Mr. Andrew Worrell decided to send 3 of our players off that day. No, Graham didn't have a great record in the Scottish Cup.
No.
Walter was a bit more fortunate in that competition. But I think it was when Stephen was interviewed yesterday, and he speaks about he doesn't want to stand still, he doesn't want to rest in the laurels of, do you know what, we've won the title, we're back at the top, we're dominant again, we've put Celtic in their place. Obviously he's not going to say that, but we've put Celtic in their place. But he's still wanting to push on, he's still wanting to get us into the Champions League, he's wanting to improve that cup record. And one of the kind of things that stuck with me was it was almost as if, right, we've won the league this year, but it's 1 trophy out of 9. And that was Stephen that said that himself. It's not as if that's getting levelled at him, that's getting pushed at him. He's saying himself, we need to get better in the cup competitions, we need to improve, we need to strive to bring more silverware in. And that's why I like that mentality with him. He's got that winning mentality, and you can see that now sort of transcending through the team as well.
Albert?
Absolutely, mate. I mean, he's turned the ball into winners, definitely, especially Tav. I mean, that was getting level with him for long enough. He's a serial loser and all this. So he's not a serial loser now, and that's down to Souness. That's down to Gerrard and his coaching staff. Have turned him into a winner. There's no arguing about it. The boy is a winner now. So, and he shows in the way he plays. He plays like a winner now. He's got that confidence and arrogance now, which I like in players. And the rest, and he's turned. Sorry, mate. Carry on.
No, you've got to recognise with Tavernier as well that Stephen's come in. Lee Wallace is captain. Lee Wallace, obviously, through his loyalty and whatever, deserving to be in that role. But Stephen's seen something in a very, very early stage that James Tavernier wasn't just a player that he could improve, but was a player that could lead our team as well. So he made that call to become captain. Open to criticism.
It's worked out perfect. It's worked out perfect.
It's been absolutely bang on.
I have to agree with there, guys. It's most of Tavernier's most assuredly improved, and I hope he continues to. But it's a pity about that wee bit injury there, and it's going to take him probably go to the end of the season before he's actually able to say that he's glad. Let's go for a rest now, you know, because he must have been worried sick about his health and so on and so forth. So I'm glad he's
some record, but wasn't it 5 years or something before he took an injury? 5 years.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic. You know.
I'm just going to check how many games he's actually played, Bridge, if I'm being honest. But Bridge, man,
I think without that injury, he was probably going to be. I mean, there are a number of candidates for Player of the Year this year, but I think if Tavernier no picked up that injury in the European side, he would probably have been just in front of everybody else. But unfortunately, because of that injury, you're probably now thinking Davis, McGregor, Goldson are potentially in front of him. But his form up to that point was so good that he was, for me, the ideal candidate for Player of the Year. But I think, unfortunately, that injury's probably just knocked him back down the pecking order a wee bit in terms of.
I'm going to say something. We think James Tavernier's not played that many games, but here's his stats. Total games per season. His first season 50, then 43, 45, 56. DVG's first game last season. He only played 24 in the league last year, and obviously it was cut short. So 46 total appearances. 43 games this year with 18 goals. Yeah, and a total of 283 starts, 4 substitutes appearances, of which I think a couple of them have came in the last few weeks, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Remarkable stats. Him and Goldson just.
Yep. His goal scoring contribution as well is huge. But for me, with Tav this year, it's not just been about the goals. What was levelled at him was the defensive side of his game and his final ball. But the delivery that we have from both the right-hand side and the left-hand side for our fullbacks is incredible. You look at Barisic's delivery for Roof's goal on Sunday. Absolutely. If you're a centre-forward, manna from heaven, that kind of ball into the box. And Tav offers that on the right-hand side as well.
Here's a question for you. Here's a quick question for you. See when they were able to put that cross in last week and Tavernier scored against St Johnstone, who scored that? Because I couldn't believe it was Tavernier. I wasn't at the replay. I had it confirmed to me it was Tavernier because I couldn't believe he was up there.
Yep. There was a European tie we played this year. I can't remember who it was against, and I remember McCoist saying in commentary, I think Tav met it in the 6-yard box, and McCoist was almost at that's your right back. That's your right back in the centre forward position. He gets so advanced at times, and he's got that confidence now to get into that position. And yeah, as I say, one of the ones that's definitely improved under the manager.
Albert, and we'll come to you as well, Alistair. Albert, just when you mentioned James Tavernier, did you see him as a leader, mate? Before Stevie?
To be honest, no.
No.
To be honest, no. No, I never thought he was that type of player. I thought he was a good player. The first time I ever seen him, I said right away, I said he's a decent right back. But that's the days of the championship. But he's improved dramatically since then. But I never seen that. One of the things that Tavernier's got is he's no fear to score, and he's no fear to get in any position. And the young players that are coming into the team like Patterson, Bassey, and they should look at him and say, that's his big asset. He's no fear to score. He'll just get right in there. And that's what I like about him.
Obviously, if he's no fear to score, he's also no fear to miss. Same question to you, Bridge. James Tavernier, before Stevie G came in, did you think he was leadership material?
No, I have to be honest and say that even now today, I admire him greatly, and he's doing a fantastic job as captain, and most assured of doing that. But I must say, he's not my type of captain. So, but that's the manager going to pick him and let him go. I have no criticism in general for him. I just don't think he's a Rangers captain. But hats off to him, and I admire him greatly for it.
What are you looking for? A Goff, a John Gregg style?
I'm looking for something like that.
Is that ship no sailed, but
as far as these two players are concerned, absolutely. Terry Butcher. I'm looking for people like that.
They're maybe a wee bit old now, but what I'm saying
is saying that. So I think what we'll need to do is, I said it a couple of seasons ago, I don't think the Rangers captain's at Ibrox yet. So somewhere along the line, we're going to have to buy someone in and take in a natural captain, and away he'll go. I actually thought Ryan Jack might have made a really good captain for Rangers, but he's not had his chance yet for that. Tavernier's fantastic.
I think what you've maybe seen, Alistair, that Tav was a sort of leader in the dressing room that Gerrard's picked up and that we don't see.
Yeah, I think it's more a lead by example, and I get where we're coming through there in terms of the shouters and the ballers and whatever. If you look at the successful captains we've had in the past, the ones that have kind of been heart in the sleeve and all that kind of stuff, and you don't necessarily see Tav giving somebody a bollocking in the park or having that in him. But obviously, Stephen, again, a guy that's been a captain himself, knows what it takes to be a successful captain. Has earmarked Tav as being the man for him.
I would suggest to you that
Rangers Captains, would that be a good book? Let me think.
Yeah, I would indeed. I would suggest to you that Tavernier is probably the cleanest player that we've had in general in our team. He hardly ever gives a foul away in a bad manner, Very, very rarely. He plays with a really big smile on his face at times.
No red cards, nice a defender. Nearly 300,
just about
300 games, no red cards.
Yep.
287 games, no red cards. It's quite remarkable. All right, just while we're on to captains, and I'll put you on the spot here. We've obviously not discussed it. Your top 3 Rangers captains, you personally. I'll come in with mine. I've thought about it ahead of the game. Alistair, go on the spot, top 3. Reverse order or whatever order you want.
Goffey's got to be number 1 for me.
Goff.
Again, another that led by example and was hugely successful. I can't go to the likes of John Gregg and all that kind of stuff. It's a wee bit before my time. So my second one's probably Terry Butcher. Again, given the significance of his signing, given the impact he had on the team at that time. And probably third, I'm probably going to go Barry Ferguson. Again, for his influence on the team.
Okay, good shout. Albert?
Greg, Goff, Tav. I'm never going to get you Butcher. Never. Because to my mind, he's a big backstabbing rat. He's not getting my vote.
that's no your trouble. But you don't say what you feel. You need to let it go a bit. You know, Bridgeman.
I think I have to. I don't want to disagree with Albert, but I'll just say it anyway. You know, seriously, I think for me, Greg, Butcher, and it's right in the tip of my tongue, and I've lost it. Who was the other one you were saying, Albert?
Goff.
That's it. That's the one. Couldn't get it. Just slipped out of my mind. So those are the three.
Right, okay. I would go for John Gregg, Richard Goff, and way before my time, but I maybe think, because his status at the club, Eric Caldo.
Great shout. Fantastic shout. Great shout.
In fact, Eric Caldo might be number 2 if I'm being honest, but I think that Goff, his longevity, his success at the club would put him in at number 2. Aye. Greg, Goff and Caldo. And by the way, Terry Butcher would be my number 4. Sorry, Albert. I understand your sentiment. You know.
Eric Caldo is a really good Rangers captain. A really good Rangers captain, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. And dare I say it, with Caldo, as a fullback, we're talking earlier on about Tav's disciplinary record, been exemplary. Look at Eric Caldo's disciplinary record during his career.
I'll get his stats up. I think Bridge taught him how to play, didn't you, Bridge?
I thought you'd have picked Caldo yourself, Bridge.
No, I think I've got the greatest admiration for those 3 players that we just spoke about. There are a few others that I thought would have been. Barry Ferguson, for instance, was a really good captain for us. But at the same time, my heart went out to like say Amarus. I thought Amarus was a smashing captain for us, but never the same pizzazz. But I thought Butcher was just tremendous. When he came up for England, unbelievable stuff. You know.
What about Lee Wallace? Is he not in
Lee
there?
Wallace,
No?
Of course, he carried us through, and
definitely
deserved
deserves
the
a
business. But I don't think he was the greatest Rangers captain. Let's put it that way.
No.
The circumstances dictate to me, Bridge, he really is one of the best. He really is.
Oh, absolutely. I'm never taking it away.
We're talking about Lee Wallace the man or Lee Wallace the player here?
Lee Wallace the man and player.
Aye, a bit of both, I think. I think he certainly deserves to figure in the top 10. Definitely.
I think he got led astray, mate. I think he got led astray. We know who they. But I think that's his problem. They end up.
All right, okay. That's maybe a whole show on its own. A captain special.
Right.
A captain special. But Eric Caldo, 428 games, no substitutes appearances. Obviously, Bridge 25 goals, of which 25 were penalties. No yellow cards, no red cards. Actually, played most of these games.
I don't think the red cards were involved when he was playing.
They were. Well.
I think it was Gento, Paco Gento, obviously part of that fantastic Real Madrid team. He said that Caldo was the best fullback he played against. And if you think about the level that he got to with that Real Madrid team with Di Stefano and Puskás and whatever, he said that Caldo was the best that he played against.
I think in Bridge, you're right with the yellow and red cards. I don't think they were about that time. I think the term was chuck it or get off. That was it. You didn't get yellow and then red. It was chuck it, get off.
Run up and grab them by the ear and say,
I don't think the yellow and red cards come into the 74 World Cup, didn't they? No?
But you're right. They never get many bookings and so on and so forth. So. And they never get
sent off. You still get sent off. I mean, Mully would.
Well, you still get booked because that's the term was in the book. Your ref would put you in the book.
Yep. Well, look at the suspensions back then. Was it Colin Steen ended up suspended for something like 6 weeks at the end of the season for a red card against Clyde, and that cost us probably the Scottish Cup that year and arguably the championship as well.
For these ones, it's a different thing. It's a completely different thing when a Rangers player gets a ban. For particular reasons, and all of a sudden you find out it's in a particular time and it's anything to do with sort of weekend Rangers, and that's all these things were about.
I think Steen gets sent off for a technical knockout, mate. I think that's why he gets
technical knockout. Aye, a TKO.
It used to be time then, wasn't it? It wasn't matches. So if you got it in the winter and the weather was bad, you might not miss a game. But how times have changed. But Eric Caldo, I think, maybe a guy that's sometimes overlooked in our history. Alistair.
Aye, well, I can draw some similarities. Eric Calder's for the same part of the world as me, so I had a kind of affinity with him anyway, as I say, before my time. But if you think about his career being compromised so badly with that leg break at Wembley, and again back in the day where the challenge that ended up when he broke his leg, I think it was Bobby Smith, the Spurs player, and broke his leg, he would probably ended up suspended and whatever for a significant period at the time that he gets to stay in the park. But even before that, he was playing in an era where hugely successful for the club. And I was talking to somebody earlier on the week about the number of players in our history that are probably go under the radar, but have made a significant contribution to the club, and Eric Caldo certainly falls into that category.
I used to really love Bobby Smith as a player. I thought he was wonderful. You only get wee fleeting glances in sports scene or whatever the term is. Ken Wolstenholme commentating and things like that. But you only didn't see much of him. But what I think
it was Parfait News for you, Bridge.
Parfait News. Yeah. But you know what I mean. I thought Bobby Smith was a tremendous player, and he was a tremendous player for Tottenham Hotspur and a tremendous player for England. But see when that happened to Calder, I actually went against that guy. I can't believe I done that. Even now, and I'm still a young man, But I just can't believe I did that. I just went against him totally. Stopped supporting him.
What was that, 61 game, was it? 61, 63?
61.
Yeah.
We did Wilson made a left back. David Wilson made a left back, and Baxter scored twice, 1-2-1.
Absolutely.
63.
Wonderful stuff. I reckon Baxter was just world class that day as well. Really, truly.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people talk about the 67 game for Baxter, but I think Baxter himself admitted that it was better. That his best performance for Scotland against England was that game, not necessarily the one in 67.
It was just great. And by the way, he ran the game. He was telling people, like a captain, he was telling people where to go there, give me the ball. Yeah, great admiration for that man. And I heard you saying something about Hento. One of the best players I've ever seen. Just a wonderful player. My God, he could run like the wind. He could run like the wind.
But just when you were talking about Eric Caldo there, Eric Caldo had that pace about him as well. And he obviously managed to keep up with this guy who, obviously, they came to Ibrox in 63 and beat us 1-0. And then
what a game! I was there. It was wonderful. There must have been 190,000 people in Ibrox because the walls are getting climbed all over the place. Unbelievable stuff, just unbelievable. I remember Bobby Shearer, Captain Cutlass, and he came out in the papers and he says, Hento won't do that against me. No way. He's not going to run past me again. In the park, and he left him for dead 7 times.
You've just been everywhere, mate. You've just been everywhere. I believe you were on the iceberg at the Titanic bumped into.
Yeah, it could have been,
Remember he was skipper on the one Hindenburg the other night, didn't he?
Aye, exactly, yeah.
But just when you mentioned Bobby Shearer there, it just sort of jogged my memory of Eric Caldo could play just as well at right back as he could at left back. And I think in terms of his caps for Scotland, I think it's about 50-50 in terms of the caps that he won at right back versus the caps that he won at left back. So again, that's testament to the guy. If you think about now players being able to play both sides, you wouldn't necessarily put Barisic at right back and Tav at left back. But Eric Caldo had that versatility that he could play on both sides.
But I have to say, he was a gentleman of the sport, Eric Caldo. A gentleman of the sport, like Ian McMillan, the Prime Minister, a real gentleman in the game. Other guys were different, cheeky and nipping about,
He was part-time, See that McMillan, he was part-time, you know that?
He was an architect. He's an architect. We loved him. We absolutely loved him. He came for Airdrie and then back to Airdrie, something like that.
Ian McMillan, I think he was... Did he know? Was he no manager at Airdrie at some point?
He was.
Yeah, was I? I was.
I think he was an Airdrie fan.
I think he was something like 27, 28 when he signed for us. And we, Davy Wilson, obviously, I had spoken to him at length. When Ian McMillan signed for us, Scott Simon phoned me, Davy, and says, "Look, I want to play in a reserve game. I've got this new guy coming in inside right." And he said, "We Davy scored a hat trick that night." And he said he scored a hat trick because of the precise nature of the 3 through balls he got for Ian McMillan. Just that different type of player for us, just that next sort of link in the chain in that hugely successful team. Great player.
Aye, some great names there. I mean, chain of thought, Eric Caldo, I think he's somebody that's overlooked sometimes by history. And Bridgeman, going back to your hero, there's a lot of people saying that Caldo helped make Baxter when he was top of his game at our club. When he went to left back for us, the combination was superb there.
Yes, they were very good. They was a wonderful team, a team full of winners and great players. Every single player was a really good player for their position. And it was great to watch, just wonderful to watch. What thrills they used to give you, really good stuff. At that time, the wingers were very important because they were the trickiest guys or the speediest guys. So people liked that, liked the big thrill. And the inside forwards or the halfbacks would push the ball up a wee bit, and away they would go. Just great. Great to watch, wonderful to be involved with. Great.
Bridge, here's a question for you, sorry, just before we move on.
Yeah, on you go.
I've always been intrigued by that era where it was 2-3-5 formation and all that kind of stuff, and you had 5 forwards. How would that kind of formation go down in today's game? I would love to see something like that. A team that actually been that bold to play 5 up front and just go hell for leather every game.
I don't know, to be honest, I don't know if it was really 5 up front. It was 5 forwards, but you'd probably find that they in turn you'd have your two wingers and a centre forward, and the 2 inside men would be like your a shortened version of your midfield, and they would do the business, and they would link up with the halfbacks, the Baxters and the John Greggs of the world, and away it would go. They would just short passes to each other or long passes to each other, and that's the way they seem to work it. But they called it the W. It wasn't a W for nothing, it's just the way they worked, the way they did it, Brilliant to watch. Oh, they were really good. The Rangers were great at it, just great.
All right, we're going to have a tune and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about the announcement that was made today off the park. Get yourself a mute, lads. We're going to have a tune.
Nice one.
We support the Glasgow Rangers, do not Ibrox is the place, and we will follow in the championship race. Yes, it's true, the boys in blue are just magic on the ball. The Glasgow Rangers football team's the greatest team of all. It's true, the magic boys in blue are the best team in the land. You've got to queue and govern to get a ticket for the stand. Yes, it's true, the boys in blue are just magic on the ball. The Glasgow Rangers football team's the greatest team of all. We've spent a lot of money on great players, yes, that's true. But the Rangers fans deserve the best from the boys in royal blue. Yes, it's true, the boys in blue are just magic on the ball. The Glasgow Rangers football team's the greatest team of all. The story, it was dismal, full of gloom. Now we're building an extension for the Ibrox trophy room. Yes, it's true, the boys in blue are just magic on the ball. The Glasgow Rangers football team's the greatest team of all. In Europe we'll be travelling by land and sea and plain. The teddy bears have got the bears and we're on the march again. on the ball. The Glasgow Rangers football team's the greatest team of all. Yes, it's true, the boys in blue are just magic on the ball. The Glasgow Rangers football team's the greatest team of all. Yes, it's true, the boys in blue are just magic on the ball. The Glasgow Rangers football team's the greatest team of all. Yes, it's true, the boys in blue are just magic on the ball. The Glasgow Rangers football team's the greatest team of all. Yes, it's true, the boys in blue are just magic on the ball. The Glasgow Rangers football team's the greatest team of all. Yes, it's true, the boys in blue.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
All right, a couple of wee announcements. Obviously, there's only a few badges, and I say a few badges left. Big Al, if you can get in touch with somebody for the show, if you're listening all the way out in Australia, so we can make sure everything's all right for you, mate. If you want a badge, quickly get in there at shop.rangersradio.online and get the badges that's all set up there. The PayPal and everything set up for you to do it. All the money from the badges purchased is going to the Robert Mulholland Memorial Parade to help subsidise it. They're using Rangers Radio to raise money, which for a fitting cause. And thanks to everybody who's purchased some badges to go to that worthy Rangers cause. Also, can I give a shout out to Tam Fox, our regular listener? No, Sam Fox. Oh, Bear, you behave yourself. Tam Fox, right? Tam's in hospital, and all the best for everybody here at Rangers Radio. Get well soon, mate, and hopefully we'll hear from you soon, mate. All right, where were we? Announcement today. When I seen it, I wasn't too excited. I'll be honest with you. I thought, okay, we've announced, we've renegotiated with my initial partners, but then I read this line: Rangers agreement with the Kindred Group's representatives, the largest sponsorship agreement in the club's 150-year history. Alistair, things are going from strength to strength.
I think commercially, if you look at not just necessarily the deal that's been struck today, but the partnerships and the deals that have been struck certainly over the course of this season, I think we're heading in the right direction again. We're getting that brand re-established, which I think we'd lost through our involvement with a certain individual south of the border. But I think it's good for the club. I agree, and I'll be honest. Until you kind of messaged and said we were going to talk about it, I kind of looked at the announcement and kind of flicked it away as a notification, thinking that's just
I've done the same this morning, mate.
Yeah, but when you actually read it, when you actually get a bit more kind of bit more of an understanding of it, and yeah, I think it's a fantastic announcement for the club. Yeah, it's no you don't necessarily, if you mention 32 Red or if you mention Unibet, you don't necessarily think, oh, they're top end, they're sort of A-list or whatever. But there must be something in it if we've had this partnership for this length of time.
Yeah. Anyway, we've also been joined by the one and only George E.K. How are we doing, George?
Here, all right, lads, Barry. I wasn't actually phoning up for this, Barry, because I'm up to my eyes, Barry, and with escaping the was not that malarkey, man, because I've got a boy coming tomorrow, and he says, tomorrow, Friday, we fancy your job, and he went like that, and said, if you fancy scraping, he went like that, I'll charge you 2.5 just for paper and avenue.
All right, George, mate.
No, that's...
You should have said I get all better Ridgeman up for 2.
No, wait, I hear this, man. So what happened is, I phoned up Hangway, which got contacted PayPal to get Hangway, Rangers Online, to get the Hangway, the Robin Mulholland badge. Right, and it went like PayPal says, right, everything's pure cool and all the rest of it, and Andy, right, it says you paid $4.95 GP to Terry Workman, right, it's got the details, not the rest of it. And it says Robert Mulholland 55 badge, right, and they went like that, and it says $4.95 and for shipping fee $4.95, right, so it ended up, man, I went like that, and it goes into Rangers Radio, and it says in it, which is strange. It says, thanks for your order. It's on hold until we confirm that payment has been received. In the meantime, here's a reminder of what you got. And it just tells me what I was supposed to be getting. So I phoned up PayPal today, and PayPal were like, and she's listening, by the way, this is not the day where you need to contact the merchant. And I was like, and the merchant's obviously Rangers Radio, you know what I mean, whatever, or Rangers online. So I don't know what the drill is, if I'm getting it or no.
With your badge?
Aye.
Your badge has been posted to you, mate, yeah?
Is it, mate, man? That's pure cool, by the way. And by the way, man, honestly, she's skating the was, mate. It's a sentence. It is a sentence, mate. It's the worst thing I've ever had to do. I used to date when we were kids, man, know what I mean? And then also when I was married and all that, I know, man, but honestly, I can't stand this job, man, but I see what I don't do it. And guess what? I'm not going to open the windows and all that. We're getting snow. It's King Valley the now, and we're getting snow at 10 o'clock, man. You just good to make up.
It is late, George. What do you expect?
It's CK, man. Honest to God, it's pure brutal, mate. Brutal. See, when I was riding the town, I used to go through my mask after all that, man. I used to be like that. It was the summertime. I used to be chattering. I used to be like, why did they're like, don't talk rubbish, just roast. And I was like, it's chattering up here, by the way.
Right, George. Good to speak.
Man. I like what you're talking about with the captains, by the way, man. I would go with John Gregg, Richard Goff, and James Tavernier, actually. I would go for, or maybe Barry Ferguson, I don't know.
Aye.
Conundrum there.
Listen, Barry Ferguson is a great shout. He was a leader for us.
Aye, he was, mate.
He was a leader, and obviously he blotted his copybook a bit. Would that be fair? Yeah, sure. Barry would admit he was a bit rash. I mean, obviously we know he was set up by the media and treated badly with the SFA, but you're the first Rangers player for that.
What do you expect that for him, you know what I mean?
I'd be sitting with that guy who get nutmegged on Sunday and he get a wire to go to his bed. Yeah, get to your room just before the press came in. Anyway,
you think he blotted his copybook when he left first time?
I don't think he wanted to leave. My understanding is that that was mutual between him and the club, mate.
Right.
You know, because of finances, you know. 2003, after the year that we qualified for the Champions League when he went to Blackburn.
After Arveladze scores against Copenhagen, and then he goes to Blackburn. I think that there's a lot of people that think Rangers captains don't leave the club and all that kind of stuff, but having said that now, at that particular time, given the kind of financial position we now know the club was in, then you could understand when somebody comes in with that kind of offer, it's very difficult to refuse that kind of money.
Yeah,
what was he away? About 18 months? About 18 months he was away.
Oxford.
Yes, mate.
Sparky Hughes was the manager at Blackburn at that time, wasn't he?
Oh, I couldn't answer that, mate. I don't know if it was him or Souness.
And I'm sure he was saying he was gagging for him to stay because he was a quality player and he was like he wanted to stay. And he was gutted when he went back to Ibrox, absolutely gutted.
Oh, he was at the top of his game, Ferguson.
He was, man. He was an excellent player, man. He was doing brilliant doing the Blackburn and all.
He was a top player. Albert.
He was all right.
All right, Albert, how you doing, Mucker?
How you doing, George? Derek Ferguson for me is a better player, mate. Sorry. I know.
He was a better player, I suppose.
And I'm in the camp, you're a Rangers captain, you don't leave. I'm in that camp. Sorry, guys. That's what I said.
A proper captain.
Aye, you just don't leave. But anyway, especially in difficult times, and that's why I was going to have his place, because he's there in some difficult times, you know what I mean? Along with Wallace, I suppose, he should get his place as well, because they times are horrendous, by the way. And the guy, Wallace stuck with us, and Big Lee McCulloch stuck with us. You've got to give them respect for it.
Well, you give them respect, but obviously £112 and £116,000 a week, that always cushions the blow, doesn't it?
You could still get met. I think Wallace, if he'd have went elsewhere to get more money, and he'd have got an international career at it as well. So you've got to think what he gave up as well. That's just my opinion, guys. Just my opinion.
I'll take the Fifth Amendment on that one. On you go,
it would have been quite easy for him to do the same as what the likes of Naismith and Stephen Whittaker did, and make that move. But he decided to stick with it. He decided to stay with us and come up through the leagues with us. And you're right, in terms of international caps, he would probably picked up more international caps if he left and gone to England or gone to Europe, but I think he deserves a bit in terms of the loyalty. Very, very quiet in terms of captain as well, but still has played a significant role
through history.
That journey back.
Yeah. Lee Wallace, the man, I've got utter admiration for. I'd be interested to see if we had any troubles, how many games Lee Wallace would actually got for us if we'd have stayed in the top flight. That'd have been an interesting, but a question you'll never be able to answer, Bridgeman.
Nah, you wouldn't. I thought Wallace was a pleasure to be a Rangers captain. Really good guy, and I think he did his stuff for us. I was very pleased he stayed on, and I think that made me dislike the ones that went away all the more. So I'm a wee bit emotional with that, you know. But you know, when you think about it, take away the emotion.
Do you think it was the leaving? Do you think it was the leaving or the white people left? Because obviously, remember, Alan McGregor and Stephen Davis left us, and it was Whittaker and Stephen Naismith who advised them to do what they'd done. Well, particularly Stevie Naismith. I mean, just unbelievable.
I think both Naismith and Whittaker. I think all of the players that left were absolutely brilliant players. And I understand the finances and all the rest of it. And we didn't have 2 pence to rub together, to be honest, at the time. And we've got all these wages to pay. And we just couldn't do it. And I understand all that. And take the emotion out. Naismith, when he left, and Whittaker, when he left, I was saddened because they were 2 absolutely top-class players for me in their positions. I thought they were really good. Davis, well, you know how I feel about Davis. I don't need to tell you, he's absolutely world-class player. Top of the tree, and Mr. McGregor, he's back here and he's top of the tree again. You know, so some of the players that left, I was really, really gutted by it, and a lot of hatred or dislike, shall we say, started to come out. But you know, Bock and Egret stayed on in Goya. I thought they were wonderful players for us.
They
as
stayed
well.
for a few weeks. I don't think it was the fact that people left. I don't think they supported any problem with that. They understood it. Alistair, I think it was the way a couple of players that actually left that was the issue.
I think it was the manner in which Naismith and Whittaker decided to go in front of the media and almost, again, it's part of our history. As much as I like to immerse myself in our history and I enjoy reading about history, it's part of our history that I try and kind of blank out my head. I do remember, I don't know whether it was Stephen Naismith or Stephen Whittaker that said, I don't recognise this club. I'm almost subscribing to this new club mentality, and that for me was it. It didn't matter the fact, as you say, you've got guys that are in the prime of their career, international footballers. You can understand, right? I don't want to go to the 3rd division. Fine, respect that, but don't come out and say I don't recognise this club. This is a new club to me. That finished it for me. That was the kind of defining statement for those 2. But I don't think Stephen Davis or Alan McGregor or any of those guys were as outward at admitting that. You can respect their decision in terms of leaving us, but to say I don't recognise this club anymore, this is a new club, this is a different club. Nah, that was it. And
if that interview hadn't took place, mate, and I'll take this round the panel, pretty much a yes or a no answer. If that interview hadn't take place, and let's just say Stephen Naismith would have left the club like the rest of the players did, would he have been back at Ibrox?
100%. In terms of ability, 100%. I would have taken him back because at the time that Stephen Naismith left us, he was a very, very prominent figure in that team. Was playing particularly well. We were talking about Tav earlier. Stephen Whittaker at right back as well had a fantastic engine on him. He used to get up and down that line. Very good defender, very, very good attacker as well. Had it not been for the interview, had the opportunity to come further down the line to do what Stephen Davis and Alan McGregor had done, would have taken Stephen Naismith and Stephen Whittaker back 100%. But the interview for me scuppered any notion that they would come back.
Mulber.
The worst of the 2 of them was Naismith. Naismith was a Rangers supporter. Whittaker was a Hibs supporter. So Whittaker I can understand, because he is what he is, you know what I mean? But Naismith was a Rangers supporter, and he shouldn't have said it. If he didn't say it and just left with the rest, you'd have brought him back, no bother. I'm no arguing about the guy's ability. He's a great player. He was a good player for us. I'm no argument with that. It's just what he done. That wasn't acceptable. That's just no. That's why Butcher for me is not acceptable either. And Alfie Conn, another one. I just don't take to these people. I really don't. They're dead to me.
But you know, as far as Naismith's concerned, I have to say, the Ibrox support was split. I'm not saying it was a massive split, but there was a split there that a lot of folk wanted Naismith to come back, and when he was wanting to go back up to Scotland, apparently, and they would have took him in a minute. Obviously, the majority didn't, and the Rangers board listened to them. I hope.
I think there was people in the boardroom also at the same point of view.
There you
go. George?
100% agree with everybody says. If Naismith hadn't said that, man, I'd have took him back in a heartbeat, because at Everton, man, he was quality at Everton and all. I'm talking about the body bags ability, man. He was a cracking player for his Whittaker. As Albert says, he's always been a Hibs supporter, man, so I'm not really bothered about him at all now. So at the end of the day, man, at the end of the day, it's no loss anyway, is it?
Well, we've ended up, mate. Not where we've ended up, you know.
Exactly. Much better players, let's be honest about it.
Mm-hmm. George, a guy was speaking to me today, and he's asking me if you'd finished your living room with your wallpaper screen.
No,
mate, I think so.
You know,
mate, I'm going to have to come off the phone, and I need to batter in, get the windows open, because the snow's coming at 10. Seriously, the snow's coming at 10. I'm like myself, you're joking. It's totally King Billy the New, I'm talking about. Oh my God, you know what I mean?
Anyway,
I'm going to batter in.
Enough about
So
changing
I'll tell
places.
you what, lads, it's been great fucking talk tonight. I need to go to the new and charge in.
Right, cheers, Georgie boy.
You wired in,
I'll
big
phone
man.
you the ball, man.
He's off.
Cheers, George.
Anyway, we've been joined by Robert. Evening, Robert.
Evening, Rox. Evening, big man. Albert, everybody else in Rangers Radio. Always good to talk to you guys. It's Biz, man. How you doing? You keeping well?
Wonderful, pal. Yourself?
Oh, great, Biz, man. Well, I'm listening to chat and just listening to talking about the great Rangers captains. You mentioned Captain Cutlass and all that. My top three, obviously, John Greig in my lifetime, the greatest Rangers captain, followed by Richard Gough. And, Ox, can you correct me here or no? Did the great Barry Ferguson win 2 trebles for us under Dick Advocat and Alex McLeish?
He played in the 99 team under Advocat.
Indeed, he did.
I'll check how many games he played in. Obviously, the 2003. He was a captain. No, was he a captain? He was the captain.
He was captain. He was captain the second treble season there.
Did too.
So I'm just bringing a wee... So my wee point, Alberg, I've just listened to you and you said Derek was a better player. I'm sorry, pal, I've got to totally disagree with you. Barry Ferguson was by far better than his brother Derek, and we're entitled to our opinions. Barry Ferguson, to me, is one of the greatest Rangers captains we've ever had, and what a leader he was. And if it wasn't for Barry, I don't think we would have won some of the trophies that we did win. That's only my opinion.
There's 280 games, 148 for Derek, 428 for Barry. 98-99 season, he played 41 games. In the 2002-03 season, he played 48 games. Yeah, and by the way, that season he scored 18 goals, 16 in the league, Ferguson. The treble winning side.
Brilliant player, and don't get me wrong, I thought Derek was a wonderful player. I'm sure I seen Derek make his debut when he was about 15 and a half when he came on for Rangers. I can't remember the game. Derek
testimonial.
Yeah, that's it. And he was a wonderful player, but Derek's career kind of did it no kind of keep me right? Did it no fizzle out a wee bit when did Graham Souness was he no one of the players Graham Souness get ready? I could be wrong here, but a wonderful player, wonderful.
He clashed with Souness, I think there were times right the way through where Derek was emerging, and Derek and Durrant were the kind of the two kind of precocious talents at that time when Graham came on. And I think Graham took a shine to wee Durrant, but didn't necessarily take the same shine to Derek. Derek was struggled as well. He dislocated his shoulder at one point, and as much as he went through surgery and went through some operations,
it was never quite right after that. But him and Graham, I don't think, got on, and then eventually it petered out and he went to Hearts, and then he kind of moved through various different clubs after that. But lovely guy, brilliant guy, and I think he was just a victim of circumstance. It was potentially an opportunity for him under Graham to have that kind of influence of Graham as a midfielder, but I think they clashed, and the relationship just wasn't that great. But brilliant player for us still.
So would I be right in saying then, would you agree with me then, as much as Derek was a fantastic player, I'm not taking away from him, I just think Barry was better, but am I right in saying then Derek didn't quite reach his potential with Rangers? Is that a fair comment?
I think Derek admits that himself. I think Derek admits that he get drawn into the social side of the game at that time, where they were going out and they were enjoying themselves, and probably that kind of railroaded against what Graham was trying to bring in at that time in terms of the mentality at the club, and that indiscipline, I guess, to use the word, meant that Graham didn't necessarily, Derek didn't necessarily kick on and achieve that potential that he had. But you don't make your debut for Rangers at the age of 15 if you're not a decent player.
No,
you don't win man of the match in a League Cup final against Celtic if you're not a decent player.
What I would say about Albert saying, I would say that Barry Ferguson, that drive and determination and what we won for us, I mean, he played well, but to sort of back up a wee bit of what Albert says, even though I think Barry was a better player of the two, I think Derek might have been the more stylish looking player, Albert.
He's a better player in my opinion. I like Derek. I think he was a fantastic player. And if he had to get the nonsense out his head, like Gerrard get nonsense out his head, he'd have been known to be one of the best players Rangers ever had. But he didn't, so you're never going to know. But it's only opinions. It's just my opinion. Yeah. I'm not saying Derek. I'm not saying Barry Ferguson's a bad player. No stretch of the imagination. I'm saying that. But just in my opinion, like Robert, he likes Barry. I like Derek, so that's fine. That's fine.
I think when Souness came to Ibrox, I think the pair of them had a big fallout. No long after Souness arrived.
I think you'll find it was a few years into it, mate. Yeah.
Well, I think he didn't see.
I mean, Souness admitted, if he dropped Derek Ferguson, he said he would probably get hung with the Rangers support. That's how much the Rangers support revered Derek Ferguson.
I do think
he was a fantastic player.
Yeah, fantastic I think though that when he fell out with the manager, and they've obviously had words behind the scenes, and those words are stuck, and it affected his game, and then he started getting dropped. I'm not saying it all happened within 2 weeks or anything like that, but I think within a short space of time of a footballer's little life, I think Derek fell out of favour of Graham Souness. And
another player,
went to Hearts.
That's right. Another player around about that time I thought was better than Barry Ferguson was Two-Guy. I would have had Two-Guy in the team before Barry Ferguson as well.
Two-Guy was a fabulous player, but they were different types, mate.
Remember, it was central midfield. It was central midfield they were all vying for. No, I mean, so that's only opinion again.
Remember Two-Guy playing sweeper. Remember Two-Guy playing at sweeper against Monaco in the Champions League. It was absolutely phenomenal. We beat them 1-0 away from home in the Stade Louis II, and Van Bronckhorst scored. And Two-Guy that night was absolutely immense.
Two-Guy was a fabulous football player. Again, culture, but I don't think he would go and win you the ball back as often as Barry. You know.
No.
You know, but
again, guys,
but then you could
like to see Two-Guy in this team.
Gattuso. What about Gattuso? With his development on in the game, and Advocat preferred Barry. You know.
Did Advocat not play Gattuso at right back at one point?
Everywhere. Yep. I think he had him everywhere. I think we could all see he was a special talent, the boy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was just about to say, I think that's the reason that the managers did that with him. Moved him different position to give him that, shall we say, all-round football player, which is what he did. He's a smashing wee player. And then before you know it, within 4 or 5 years, he's captain now, Italy. Oh my goodness gracious, what a career!
Wins the World Cup, wins the Champions League. Yeah,
just you wonder how did he do that? What kind of grounding did he get? I'll just come to Ibrox and have a look.
See what you're talking about there. See, you're talking about when Albert's brought up Turgay. I love Turgay, what a player. But he didn't quite get the games that maybe he deserved. Or I would like to know, look at the midfielders we had in about that time, like say him and Barry and George Alberts and all that, if my memory serves me right, and there's 2 or 3 others. It would be interesting to look at when Turgay was there at Ibrox at that time with Barry and that, the other midfielders. I mean, was Wee Rayner not there at that time as well? And see the midfield we had at that time was absolutely frightening. The midfield players we had at that time, and maybe that's why Turgay didn't quite get a number of games that he possibly deserved.
You Giovanni Van Bronckhorst done there as well.
Yeah, there's another one. Yeah.
So phenomenal.
I don't think as an advocate. I don't think Advocate liked Turgay. I don't think he took too much on. In fact, Turgay went down to Blackburn and was ended up an absolute hero down there.
Aye.
He was a start. He was a star for him for about 4 or 5 years.
They also loved Barry Ferguson, mate. He was top player for him in Blackburn. They loved him, mate.
In fairness, Advocate didn't take much to George Alberts either. George Alberts sits in the kind of status with the Rangers supporters. Advocate, for whatever reason, just didn't rate George.
What was Turgay's right name?
Kerry Mulgley Turgay, was it not?
Kerry Mulgley Turgay. Yeah, Kerry Mulgley Turgay.
The other one that broke my heart with Advocate, he didn't take to, was Big Amato. That broke my heart when he got rid of him. I loved that player. I really did love that player.
Do you remember when we played Parma in the UEFA Cup? Amato did a wee double drag back on I think it was on the left hand side of the penalty area and teed it up for Gordon Jury, and Gordon Jury headed it over the bar. And he's nutmegging the games against Celtic. Amato was fantastic, but again, he was that South American talent. He was that guy that wouldn't necessarily get into the trenches for us, but phenomenal talent, phenomenal player, phenomenal.
I think his downfall was with Amato, and one of the most skillful players I've ever seen at Ibrox. And I loved his celebration that 4-2 game. But I think his downfall was he didn't have the pace. He had skill, and I remember a game against Celtic, the corner flag on it between the Govan and the Copeland. And he'd done this wee trick, and he out of 4 Celtic players, and he came for the corner flag and get out amongst the 4 of them. And I thought to myself, see if you'd have paced a Laudrup, mate, you'd have been as good as Laudrup. That's how I thought that guy was so skillful, was unbelievable. But he just didn't have the pace.
You seen Bolt stole his celebration.
Exactly.
By the way, here's how your memory plays tricks. Turgay only started 36 games for us.
36?
I know, yeah.
You never got a chance,
a total of 58 games. He started 36, 22 substitutes appearance, and he wasn't raised that long. He made his debut on the 20th of 1st, 2000, the 99-2000. And
how many man of the matches out then did he have?
That's crazy stuff.
I remember he got about 5 man of the matches, one after the other. He was some player. He was a brilliant player.
What was the team he scored that pile driver? He scored a 25-yarder. I think it was at Broomloan End, and it was a screamer.
It was the Inferno. Ball came out to him, kind of similar to Jonas Term's goal against Celtic, and he just levelled it into the top corner. Fantastic goal.
What a goal.
You know, when you think back to that cup final, you're talking about the team we had in the 2000 cup final when we won the double the Orange Cup final. Kloss, Rayner was at right back. What a player. Moore, Vidmar, Newman, Kanchelskis, Ferguson, Alberts, Van Bronckhorst, Wallace and Dodds. And the 3 substitutes were Neil McCann, Sergio Perina and Turgay.
There you go.
You've just mentioned the guy there, Rod Wallace, has to be up there with the best Bosman signings that we've had. Dado Perso, Rod Wallace, probably the top. First equal for me in terms of Bosman signings. What a player Rod Wallace was.
113 games, 113 starts, 55 goals.
incredible.
And go to the one and go in 1999 against him at Hampden to win the treble.
Win the
When
treble.
you're Celtic.
There'll always be my history, Robert, for that. We scored the goal at one as a treble against them, yeah?
Yes, so that makes him a hero, doesn't it? Maybe not a legend, obviously, but makes him a hero. And I was at that game at Hampden, sitting in the main stand when he scored that goal, ricocheted, and he just put it in the bottom corner. And what a wee striker he was. He was a cracking wee striker, brilliant wee striker for us.
Even you mentioned there, Billy Dodds. There's another one. A guy who you probably wouldn't have thought, this guy's no Rangers quality, but the amount of goals Billy Dodds scored for us, phenomenal. Remember his chip against Sturm Graz in Europe?
Oh, it was 1-5.
Billy Dodds, 46 games started, 34 goals. Yeah, 38 substitutes appearances right enough, but still, not a bad record.
Davy Dodds made us one of the ugliest teams in Europe when we had him.
We've talked about these players. We're going back a generation. These boys that we've got now, Kent, Aribo, Glenn Kamara, Alfie, they're going to come and go. People, you don't know, injuries, anything can happen in football. But they're going to be revered as well. Bridgman. Bridge.
Sorry, pal, I missed you there. I apologise.
That's all right. I'm moving on to somebody else. Alistair.
I don't think there's any doubt. I mean, if you look back through our history at the teams, and we were talking about Eric Caldwell, we were talking about Bobby Shearer and Barry Ferguson, Goffey, all that kind of stuff. I don't think there's any doubt that if we're fortunate enough to still be here in 15, 20 years' time, every single player in this squad will be revered because of the significance of the achievement this year. So people will be talking about Ryan Kent, people will be talking about Joe Aribo in the same kind of breath that we're talking about Guy, we're talking about George Alberts, we're talking about Guy, and we've got such an eclectic mix in our squad where we've got guys that are your James Taverniers, your Connor Goldsons, your Alan McGregors, or Stephen Davis. Somebody said about Stephen Davis earlier, been world class, but you've got other guys in there that have done so much of a job for us this season. And there's no doubt that squad will be rightly regarded as one of the and talked about in future years as one of the most significant or best squads in our history because of the significance of the achievement this year. It was so important for us to stop the 10. It was so important for us to get that 55. So in terms of the status, you talk about 9 in a row, you talk about those that contributed to 9 in a row. These guys deserve, and maybe I'm putting it out there, these guys deserve to be up there because of the significance of the achievement this year.
Albert.
Aye, definitely, mate. The season's not done yet, by the way. The SFA have just announced that the next 2 games it's double or quits. It's 12 points each for these next 2 games, so we're still going to win the league. Aye, this team will be revered, definitely. It should be as well, let's be honest. It really should be. Because what they've achieved and the obstacles they've overcame it's second to none. It really is. In my lifetime, I only can speak about the ones in my lifetime as we all can, and in my lifetime is definitely the biggest achievement, no doubt about it. There might have been more glory like trebles and things like that, but that'll all come. But this title, this time with this team, definitely way up there.
100% agree with you, Olga. 100% agree. This is the most exciting season given from where we came a couple of years ago to where we are now. My God. And what this manager's done for us.
The story.
Oh, just great. Story, just totally fantastic. And there's more and more records going to be set. But if everything goes well and we win next 2 games and don't lose any goals.
Don't mention records on here. James with tennis, you'll be on.
Oh, no.
Yes, Robert.
We're talking about this present team, right? And I look back and what we've been talking about tonight. We've been talking about world-class Rangers players, i.e. Van Bronckhorst, Newman, Jimmy Baxter, etc. Rangers legends, like say Richard Gough, Alan McCoy, we've been mentioning these guys tonight. But can I give a wee shout out, especially after that performance on Sunday? And I'd a tear in my eye. I've watched that game 4 times. In fact, I've got it paused on the 32nd minute. The Alfie just scored to make it 2-1. I've got it paused right. This is the 4th time I've watched it. I don't know how many times I've watched it on the highlights. But can I just give a wee shout out? And this is where it touches my heart. 10 years of misery, and now I watch a guy like Ryan Kent. And Ryan Kent, maybe not as good as the guys I've just mentioned, the Van Bronckhorst. He's got a long way, a wee bit to go yet. But that's what a Rangers player's all about. That's what a Davy Cooper gave to us, a Neil McCann, a Ronald De Boer, all these types of players. They gave us excitement, and this is what I'm loving about this boy, Ryan Kent. I'll be honest with you guys, I hope we can hold on to him for the next 2 or 3 years. Because see if Rangers get an offer the Mora for 20 million, they've got to knock it back. We need this guy, because this is the point I've been wanting to make all night. See this next season coming, it's almost as crucial as this season, because this season was so crucial to get 55 and stop their so-called 10. But see, next season is just going to be so much important, and I'll give you 2 reasons why. Because we need to get that, we need to qualify for that Champions League. Financially, we need to get, with all the COVID and everything that's going on, the money that Rangers have lost when they fans get into the ground, etc., etc. So we need to get that Champions League money. And see if we do get that Champions League money, see your guys like Morelos and Ryan Kent and Connor Golson, like that, they're going to not want to go anywhere else. Because let's be honest, Rangers are a big fish in a small bowl. We're one of the biggest clubs in the world playing in a poor league. So see these guys, they'll want to stay. But see, and the downside here, if you really think about it, see if we don't get there in the Champions League, I think 1 or 2 heads could be turned and 1 or 2 players might want to move on. And not because they want to move on for Rangers Football Club, because they know they're at a fantastic, one of the biggest clubs in the world, but they want to test themselves at a bigger challenge, a bigger league, and the Champions League brings that challenge. And that's why I think next season is so important that we get into that Champions League group stage. And do you know what, Steve? We get in that Champions League group stage, and then we go out and sign a couple of really quality players, because we need to wait till we get there before we can splash the cash, because we don't want to do what we've done in the past. If we get there and we bring in these 2 or 3 quality signings, I've got no fear, because Steven Gerrard I trust in, and I've got no fear Steven Gerrard will do a really good job. Did you hear his interview yesterday when he said he's got unfinished business with Rangers? He's really annoyed about the cup competition, and he wants to take Rangers to the Champions League, and he wants to throw everything. He said he wants to throw everything at getting us 56. And do you know what? Seeing Steven Gerrard, guys, and that's how I don't. The Jermaine Defoe.
Yeah, hurry up! I've got my work in the morning.
Right, I'm sorry for going on, but I'll finally say with the Jermaine Defoe situation, I trust Steven Gerrard, because if he wants to keep Jermaine Defoe, he'll keep him, and he'll not keep him for sentiment, he'll keep him because he thinks he can do a job for us. Sorry for going on a wee bit there, but I just had to get that. I had to get that off my chest.
It's no you, Robert. It's no you. It's the fact that we've been joined by Alex. We wish all evening, Alex.
Good evening, Oxford, Bridgeman, Paul Bear,
Alex,
Robert, Alistair, everybody else that's in the panel. How you doing, lads? How you doing? Yes, very good.
Brilliant, pal. What about you?
I'm good, thanks. Oh, I'm enjoying the show tonight there.
Good news with the 32 red today, but biggest deal ever, Alex, eh?
Oh, great, man. Great news, isn't it? Everyone's all happy days anew for us, isn't it?
Brilliant, mate.
Tickety boot. I've just really call it about the great captains and that.
Mm-hmm.
I was fortunate to see Eric Calder probably at the end. What a fantastic player. A captain as well, but great fullback. Dead fast. Terrific player. Then I've got to say, what you call it, the best one's John Gregg for me anyway. Then you maybe moved in for there. I think Richard Gough, and I agree, maybe Barry Ferguson. Big Davy Weir was good as well, right enough.
Okay.
But I liked a young Barry Ferguson done us really well, you know. But we've been fortunate with a lot of good captains.
Aye. Listen, it's all about opinion, and I think all Bears think about Butcher. Butcher was fantastic for us, but in the last few years, I don't know if he thought he was going to get to a job. He might have got to a job if he'd handled himself correctly. Yeah.
Aye, possibly.
We were talking about
Gattuso.
Gattuso. You were talking about Gattuso earlier there. See the first time I seen Gattuso playing Hawks there. Believe it was doing it. Dave Watson's testimonial doing it Everton, doing it Goodison Park, right? And I'm doing there 10,000 years down there. Whatever what you call the paddock. That's across from the main stand down there. And he made a tackle. And it was at Nick Barmby. And he landed him on the sidewalk. That was his first time I'd seen the guy. And I looked through and the boy next to me went, oh Christ, what a player we've got here. We Gattuso, man. He could put it about, couldn't he?
Did you ever hear Ali's story about Gattuso?
Yes.
About Sturmark. About when he tells the story about they're having a training session on the Friday, they're playing Celtic on the Saturday, and Gattuso's flying into tackles. and he pulls Gascoigne to one side because he speaks English, and he tells Gaza to tell Gattuso to calm down because we got a match tomorrow. So Gaza says to him, Bridgeman, the gaffer says you don't know to put enough into the training session. So the next tackle, he studied McCoy's hit the neck. And the next time the whistle's gone, he's getting sent back into the changing room with Gaza, sent him up a peak. Anyway, talking about peaches, we've been joined by Amanda. How we doing, Amanda?
Good evening all, how are we all right?
Hi Amanda, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm fine. Hiya. So, have you all recovered for the weekend then, aye? Have you all recovered?
Still basking in the glory, Amanda. Still basking in the glory.
You never stop basking in that glory, do you? You never stop basking. my case is all packed, ready to go anyway, so I'm ready to go. But I think we've had some cracking players over the years, haven't we? I mean, I'm obviously a wee bit younger than some of you, you know, and not as mature, you know. But I mean, I'm talking about when Gattuso and that were there. They were great players, and Marvin Andrews. I mean, big Marvin Andrews. He was just one of these guys that just took it in his stride, wasn't he? Do you know what I mean? And I mean, I just love watching these songs he recorded in that car. I mean, he's mental. But no, we've had some cracking players. I mean, I think you're right what you're saying about the team for this season. I think in a couple of years' time we'll be looking back in this team and saying what a class act we were. You know what I mean? As I say, I think we've got a good squad. I mean, I think when you look at this team we had out on Sunday there, you know, there was players there. Probably maybe when they started out, as you say, didn't think they were going to perform against Celtic, but every one of them stood up to their job on Sunday, man for man, didn't they?
I think we were all a wee bit apprehensive. I've got to Alistair with us. We were all a wee bit apprehensive because of the performance the week before. Maybe we thought we might have gone, but we bounced back.
Yeah, I think if there was any team that we didn't want to lose, or the whole unbeaten season, I think there was that kind of apprehension that because we'd switched off, probably not the right word, but we'd sort of dropped our levels a wee bit after we'd won it so early in the season. I think there was that concern going into the weekend that they'll get that kind of scalp, if you like, of we were the team that stopped the unbeaten season and that kind of stuff. So I think there was an apprehension, but it was evident fairly early in the game that that was kind of put in the back burner because, as I said earlier, I thought we were excellent. Yes, we were maybe a bit slack with the goal that we lost, but I completely agree that there was a nervousness to begin with, but there's no way that there's no doubt that the best team emerged in the end.
I just think at the weekend, I mean, I just think this season, I mean, I was just looking at the date there. It's the 5th of the 5th, 55, eh? How appropriate is that? 55, the 5th of the 5th. But, no, as I say, I just think the team now we've got is a team that battles for everything. You know what I mean? We okay, there's times where we're a wee bit slack with the first ball, but we get it back and we get it upfield, and we usually take quite a good, counter-attack. We counter-attack quite quick. But I just think the team this season, obviously, it's been a bit strange for us all because when we were able to get to the games to see them, you know what I mean? But we're all just hoping for the day when we're all back at Ibrox and sitting in the stands and giving it the Ibrox roar and that, you know what I mean?
I'll be soon, Amanda. The things are moving on. I see the EPL have announced that the 25% of your crowd or 10,000 maximum two games after the 17th of May. So things are moving pretty quick at the moment. I don't know if you're picked
Well, that's good then. After my operation, I'll just need to recover from my operation and then I'll be able to bounce into Ibrox then,
Things are moving the right way, Robert.
Definitely. Things are going great. It's up and up for us, and you know what? It's the detriment of Steven Gerrard. But we've got to admit, Dave King's done a wonderful, wonderful job, and same with Douglas Park and the Three Bears and all these guys behind the scenes, Bisgrove and all that. Wonderful job. But Steven Gerrard has just brought us our Rangers back. That's what I would say. And also, I'm going to finish off, because I'm going to cut it here. Can I just say something we were talking about last night? The greatest goals Rangers have scored this season. They've scored some marvellous goals. Roof's goal against Standard, but I've got 10. But I'll not collectively bogies with the 10. I've got 10. I'll give you the goal scorers. My 10 Rangers greatest goals this season. The goal scorers are 2 by Connor Goldstein, 2 by Alfredo Morelos, 2 by Kmart Roof, 1 by Stephen Davis, 1 by Jermaine Defoe. Another 2 goals were scored by Terry and McGregor. That's my 10 greatest Rangers goals this season. 10 against Celtic. Guys and girls, I'll leave you and I'll just say, isn't it great to be a Ranger? Good night, Rangers Radio. Thank you for making my life so sweet and so good. Good night, guys. Good night, guys.
Good night,
Robert.
Amanda, do you think when Robert gets through his shyness, he'll be a good caller?
You used to say that about me and all, didn't you?
I don't think you've quite got there yet. Right, did you hear Jodie's...
You don't think I've quite got there yet?
Did you hear Jodie's new song last night? Did you like it?
Yeah, I never heard it. What one? She got a new one out, has she?
We love your Rangers. She's finished it, yeah.
I'll put it. I'll listen to it later on. I've got a thing here later. I think things are definitely moving in the right direction, as you say, because, well, you know, I've got my date for my knee and that, so I'm going in the 24th. So once I've had that done, I need a couple of weeks recuperation, and then hopefully I'll be able to get back to something.
You're going to be playing for the women's team next season. You know the injuries if you're going to be playing, but I'm not caring.
The women's team, you're joking. I'm not going to get into the issue of the women's team. No, I enjoy the men's team too much.
No, Amanda.
Watching.
All right. In modern society, you can play for both teams, but there we go. That's a whole different debate.
Well, you can be trans. You know, you can be multilingual, can't you? Or bilingual, as you say.
Robert, but I go to Alec. If you wish for Alec, everybody's in a good place. What really pleased me that we loved your song the other night, mate. We get loads and loads of people commenting on you, and I mean laughing with you. We thought that was funny. The story you told us about the young team, and it is important for the young team, eh?
Oh, definitely. That's what it's about. I mean, okay, I've had my second Jaguar last week there, you know, so I'm ready to go and all. But you've got to think of that, what it's about, the generations and that. We've seen it all, and we've seen the good times, the bad times a lot. These young kids are a lot to suffer for there. You've got to remember them. They're going to keep it going, so they see what Rangers is all about and what's important to win, and they'll just carry that on and on. And they're all buzzing. These kids are all buzzing, all renewed their season tickets and that again, ready to go. I love it. That's what it's about. One big happy family, you know. And we've got to thank Stevie Gerrard and the team and that for getting us out of the line here to get this league. Because honestly, I believe what Fox says last week. If that lot had won this league 10 in a row, man, it'd been insufferable. We'd need to hit the full lot. It'd have been absolutely terrible. So when you balance it up with winning the league and getting the runs in Europe, and here's hope, we get the next 2 games go undefeated. What a season we've got. And we just go again. It's fantastic.
That's a great point. That's a great point you make. Alistair, put you in the spot a wee bit here. We discussed that a wee bit last night. Has this been good for the older generation or the younger generation, this success this year, for different reasons?
Oh, I think the younger generation, probably more so. I think they've never experienced it. We've had so long now where we've gone 10 years, or 10, 11 years without it. But by the same token, the older generation haven't been reared on that sort of success that we're kind of synonymous with. I think it's better for the younger generation. It's nice for them to see us being successful, winning the league, it's for me. It's the younger generation rather than the older generation on that one.
All right, okay.
That's well said. Well said.
Okay. I get where you're coming from. It's great that the feel good factor, the merchandise deal, Bridgeman, something that we've got right in the last year or so. Things are moving in the right direction. I think Castore bring new stuff every day. I think they bring new stuff every day. We're all getting emails and we're getting new stuff. We're getting ready for the 150th anniversary strip coming out. Everything's going in the right direction. Bridgeman?
Oh yes, most assuredly, and it sounds remarkably great, doesn't it? We're so fortunate. You just need to turn the clock back 5 years, and you see what a state we were in. Just shocking, and even longer than that. But seriously, the way our club's been handled now from the top within the board area, and that boy Bisgrove seems to be a revelation. He's come in and he's done some great things.
I'm glad you mentioned him, Bridge. I'm glad you mentioned him because if you watch his interview today, and you'll see the virtual model of the new Edmondson House, I think you might find that quite interesting, mate. Yeah,
absolutely, pal. Absolutely.
It's in the background. Yeah. Amanda, we're good on the park, but things are going well after the park as well. We talked about earlier on, yeah.
I think the club in a whole, the redevelopment of Edmondson House is a fantastic idea. Because let's face it, we did need somewhere for the fans to go on a match day, right? And of course, we'd all the hassle we plan permission and things like that for stuff, but we've got it now, and I think that's all down to the way the club's been run now. The fact that they're all binding together as a unit, rather than each individual just plucking this string or pulling that string. Everybody's working as a team off the park as well as on, and I think you see the way the fans groups are coming together now as well. The fans groups have always came together, but I think now the fans are coming together in a bigger way because we're all in a good place. The team's doing well. The club's been well run. Things, commercial things are going well. They're rebuilding Edmondson House and all that, and that's going to be a money spinner for a start. That is going to be a big money spinner. And I just think it's great. It's always great to be a Rangers fan, but I just think it's even better now we've had the season we've got. It's just going to get better. You know what I mean?
Cheers, Amanda. Cheers. Well, gentlemen, Alistair, you won't believe we've reached that time of the evening. That's 2 hours disappeared, mate.
Fantastic. Well, listen, I've thoroughly enjoyed this. This has been a great. It sent my phone at an hour and 43 minutes. It's been fantastic. Really enjoyed it, and would love to do it again. If that's
here, mate. Don't you worry about it. You'll be all right again. Don't you worry. Right. You all right there, mate?
Nah, one of my big soup plate ears touched something and switched me off there. I disappeared.
Oh dear. Did you get that text I sent you?
Ah, that was very nice, mate. That cheered me up no end. I can't do phone calls and texts at the same time, so I got a wee chance to have a look. Aye, it was very nice.
All right, no bother. Well, Bridgeman, it's over to you.
Well, what can we say? What a fantastic night, Oxford. Well done to you. Well done to the guys. And well done to Albert, my co-op, and Alistair, of course, giving us a lot of good stuff. Well done to everyone. And just say to all the Rangers fans all over the world, in particular Rangers fans on here on Rangers Radio, every single one of us, look what we're doing. Look how far ahead we're going to get. Get in there and get your season tickets renewed. Get it sorted. Keep it going for the Rangers, because the Rangers need us. Keep it going.
It's always a good show with Alec for Wishaw comes on. Always.
It's a pleasure. Pleasure, by the way. What a brilliant show, actually, Bridgeman.
By the way, mate, you might go on the Christmas album with that song you sung, mate. I don't like it, you know.
Aye. Christ, my wife was like, oh, don't tell me you were singing.
Stop. It's broken.
You like it, Bridge?
Sorrow.
Brilliant, mate. Go on yourself.
Can I thank Georgie K, of course, Robert Werrell, Amanda, Alex for Wishaw as normal, Alistair, great to have you involved with Rangers Radio, my mate Albert, and of course Bridgeman, and Old School Blue, and Fox, who's sitting in the background tonight, but Old School Blue, and young GB, who stepped up to the plate to help us tonight. Thanks to taking the time to help us here on the technicals, and thanks to everybody taking part in Rangers Radio. Remember the badges. All the best to Tam Fox. Get well soon. And we'll be back tomorrow night. We'll be joined by the one and only Linda. Thanks for listening. Stay safe. And remember, we are the people. Take it away, Old School Blue.
Call you when I need you. My heart's on fire. Come to me wild and wide. Oh, you come to me. Give me everything that I need. Give me a lifetime of promises and a world of dreams. Speak a language of love like you know what it means. I can't be wrong. Take my heart and make it stronger. You're simply the best, better than all the rest, better than anyone I've ever made. Stuck on your heart. Oh, I hang on every word you say. Tear us apart. Baby, I would rather be dead. In your heart, I see the start of every night and every day. In your arms, I get lost and I get washed away. Just as long as I'm here in your arms, I could be in no better place. You're simply the best.